Further, there are definitions which we are going to explore in a Right to Information Act, which is very important to know. So information is something under RTI which is defined by the law, and it cannot be what you define and what I define as. Information is means any material in any form, including records, documents, memos, emails, opinions, advices, press conferences, circulars, orders. Just it is mentioned on the screen: logbooks, contracts, reports, papers. Even your exam papers, they also become information, data material held in any electronic form or information. Now, the RTI was before only to whatever in papers which was available, hard copies. But now it is venturing into also in electronic form and information which is also stored on digital, because now the government is trying to transfer all the hard data into soft data. Even Aadhaar cards, PAN cards are all soft datas. So any information which is held in electronic form is a soft data relating to any private or a public body, which can be accessed by any public authority under any other law for the time being in force. Do you have any question regarding information, students? Hello, hello.
No, sir.
If anyone has any- Yes. Okay. So should I go ahead? I'll go ahead to the next definition, that is public authority. Now, public authority means any authority or body or institution of self-government established or constituted by by or under the Constitution. Now, the wording by or under the Constitution, there are two meanings to it. First is when the Constitution was drafted, there are certain authorities which are already existing. You all must have learned that the Constitution was drafted by our forefathers, uh, Ambedkar, and all sitting together, discussing each and every provision, and then coming to building authorities like the parliament, the judiciary. These are all public authorities. The legislature, the president, the prime ministers. These are all public authorities. So these come by the constitution. Now, under the constitution is when certain authorities are made under new laws. And say, for example, the constitution gives powers to a particular person to a limited extent that they can give this information. They are A gazetted officers or they are B gazetted officers. Uh, they are officers which are for temporary, only for that work. That is called under the constitution. So there is a difference. There are two authorities. They are not always authority also, and not forever, if you get what I mean. By any other law made by parliament. By any other law made by parliament means when a parliament enacts a law, they appoint authorities also under that law so that that law gets enforced. So there are people responsible, accountable to the people. Now, say for example, Indian Penal Code, which is now changed to Bharatiya Nyaya uh, Samvidhan. So when IPC was implemented, police was given the authority. Now they act as one of the public officers under the law. Whenever an information is asked to them, they have to furnish it to the officer. Secondly, now third will go by any other law made by state legislature. State legislature also passes different laws which are amicable to their own state, like state of Goa has its own particular laws so that it adjusts to the people. When you all want to ask any question by any other law made by parliament or something, we all have any queries with regarding to that?
Sir, I had a question.
Yes.
This is regarding how the laws are made. So,
Yes, tell me.
say for example, a general person, citizen of India, wants to suggest something regarding a law, then what are some of the
Yes.
steps that a person can take?
What are the steps a person can take to give their opinion in a law?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're referring?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So you have to write a letter directly to the CM's office or to the bureau who is in charge. Recently, you all must have heard about the Bhumiputra law, which was coming into force, right? So the government had opened a website on Goa Online to give allow citizens to give their opinions by making it user friendly. Before it was by letters. Now it is become online. You can either take both the options by hello.
Yes, sir. But so when it comes to laws all over India rather than specific state like Goa, then who do
Yes.
we write to? Is it the PM's office or is it?
The the PM's office, no, it is a president's office. PM's office is mostly dealing with other sectors of the law. They are in charge depending on what they have been allotted in the Rajya Sabha meetings or the Lok Sabha meetings. The president is the usual person who sees your ideas, and the chief justices of your own high court in Goa, or you can write it directly to the Supreme Court as a letter. You have to give your opinion, briefs, research, but it has to be substantiated as to how it will affect and how it affects you, how it affects your neighbors in that manner. So it has to be research oriented. You want to ask anything else?
Sorry to interrupt you. Could we have the question
Yes,
session
sir.
towards the
Thank
end?
you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Now, by any other law made by state legislature, by any other law made by state legislature means whenever a state makes its own laws, like for example, there are laws which are made in Goa, like for the municipal people to get land rights in their favor. That is called a state legislature made law. Now, people can apply under this law for information to the officers as to whether they are eligible to come under that law or to get a very clarity on that particular subject. So by notification issued or order made by the appropriate government, notification is circulars. Whenever government makes a circular, it is made in the official gazette of Goa. Or whenever the central government makes, it is made in the official gazette of India. Now there are two ways. The central government can also appoint authorities and public authorities by notifications, or temporary or for permanent. Depends on the uh, depends on how much budget they are allotting, because everything is involved. The full machinery, the offices, where they are going to base it, whom they are going to accommodate, everything. So information can under by notification issued or order made by the appropriate government. Here, the central government and the state government both can appoint. So you have to know whom to apply for information and who is the public authority in that. Next, right to information is applicable to whom? Right to information is applicable to all constitutional authorities, agencies, just like what we have said before. To any or to all public authorities, agencies owned and controlled by the government, substantially financed by the government. Now, many governments have agencies which are owned, controlled, and also financed. Sometimes the government does not own them, but they finance them. Like charitable institutions, sometimes have a lot of donations, which they use for the yes, which they use for the purpose of bringing up orphanage children, elderly people, giving them food, providing them uh, other facilities like enjoyment facilities of indoor and outdoor games and all this. So that is called substantially financed by the government. Agencies means agencies also include schools, charitable institutions, other societies which are providing st- stays for people who don't have homes. That is called agencies. So owned and controlled by the government. There are certain companies which are owned by the government and also controlled by the government. So there is a difference. Whenever the government owns something, they own only a particular share of the company, and remaining is owned by a private. So only information which is available to the government can be given. Not all information can be substantially given by the government. That is what it means. All constitutional authorities. Here is a particular format. So those who are interested in applying for information to government authorities, there is a particular format under RTI which you have to use to apply the information in that department. First of all, you must write your this is a sample letter. Can everybody see the screen? Yes. Yeah. I hope the screen it is clear because it is a bit blurry. So you must first write your name, your surname, full name, residence, your date. Second, you have to see very specifically to the public information officer of so and so department which you are seeking information. Say, for example, you had taken a benefit of a particular scheme and that scheme suddenly stopped, which is affiliated to the government. Like I said before, financially financed by so that is where the public information comes in picture. These are authorities which are made by the government under RTI. So you have to specifically put to the public information officer of the department which you want to seek information. And it is very important that the subject should always be seeking information under Right to Information Act 2005. It, you don't need to put anything else, only put under the Act 2005. Then, respected sir, madam, I am a citizen of India. It is very important to note that you have to say that you are a citizen of India. It's just not that anybody can go and apply the information. You have to be a citizen of India and you have to say that you are a resident by providing your Aadhaar card details. Then you must explain your story materials provided to us from dash department. Dash reasons for stopping benefits provided to my family under dash scheme. Say that this is the same example which I've been earlier explaining to you. So, say for example, you have taken a scheme, it suddenly stops working. So, and you don't get the benefit out of it. You can very well inquire for your satisfaction. What are the lists provided to you? What is the reason for stopping? Is there any notification or a circular stopping the benefit to take? Further, the last paragraph, if you see, that I undertake to pay the fees of the information provided and enclose quote fee of rupees 10. I undertake to pay the fees means whatever provided is given at a minimal rate of 2 rupees or 1 rupee, depending. Suppose you are, if there is a caste involved, then it is free. Otherwise, if it is for a general, then it is 2 rupees per page, which is very reasonable based than the other laws which are amounting to 50 rupees a page. So your information is provided at such very minimal rate of rupees 2. And it is very important that you enclose a quote fee, which I have shown you a sample over here. It's in red marked over here. It has to be a 10 rupees quote fee. Further, you must the remaining data as such is requested. Kindly provide information over the thanking you with your name. Next, now what is the information which is excluded? A public authority has no obligation to give any citizen the information which I am going to tell you. Information which of India, the security, strategic, scientific, or economic interest of the state, relation with foreign state, or lead to incitement of an offense. So now, what does this paragraph A mean? It means information which, like terrorism, major which can cause mob lynching or fights between the communities of people between different castes. As you know, that India is a diversified country of religion and ethnicity, and it has in that diversity, all Indians are living together, celebrating festivals and other normal course of life. So information, whenever it affects certain the sovereignty, economic, scientific interest of the state, that means whenever anything like a secret which the state has to hold and cannot convulge to the people, because then people will get afraid. They will say we have so many things which can even cause harm to our own neighbors. It's rumors. Outside for trips. Whenever they go outside, they make what do you say plans on how to promote their own state, how to promote their own country abroad. So now, what do we mean by promotion? Promotion means by promoting Goa as a tourism state, or promoting Goa as an educational hub, promoting Goa as a very well developed and place to settle down for. These are information which the government cannot disclose. These are certain informations which the government cannot disclose to a normal person, because it can lead to unrest. People will say others are taking our land. That is the meaning of economic interest of the state, relation with foreign state, or lead to incitement of an offense. Information which has been expressly forbidden to be published by any court of law or tribunal. Whenever any cases are filed between persons or a political affliction, let's say, for example, any cases are filed between two political parties. So whatever information is put inside this court is not allowed to be disclosed outside. Either from you may get it from media, which is a leak, which we call. It is not does not fall under right to information, because right to information protects right to privacy of two parties or two companies or two persons. Information, the disclosure of which will cause a breach of privilege of parliament or state legislature. Now, whenever any law is discussed in parliament or state legislature, there are discussions held. There are various points which are raised, various communities which are represented by prominent persons who raise their concerns for their own community. So whatever the discussions are, sometimes it can be very, what do you say, inhuman, but it has to be said in the parliament, which can hurt a lot of sentiments outside the parliament. That information cannot be disclosed. Information including commercial confidence, trade secrets, or intellectual property, the disclosure of which will harm the competitive position of a third party unless the competent authority is satisfied that larger public interest warrants the disclosure of such information. Now, what we mean by information including commercial confidence, trade secrets, or intellectual property, it means whenever any company invents a particular drink, for example, say Bisleri. Now, Bisleri itself is a trademark or a commercial mark. It has a authority, and it has been given the permission to sell water under its own brand name. So it has its own trade secret. Now, how the water is made, or what is the chemical that is used in making the water or preservation of the water is a trade secret or an intellectual property, which we call, which cannot be disclosed under RTI. We will proceed to E clause. Informa- Clause E. Information available to a person in his fiduciary relationship unless the competent authority is satisfied that a larger public interest warrants the disclosure of such information. A fiduciary relationship means relationship wherein, say, for a simple example, I will give you is of a husband and a wife. They are in fiduciary relationship, so information cannot be disclosed. Or a father and a son. That's a fiduciary relationship. Someone who is related to you, or your boss or an employee. That is a fiduciary relationship. So such information cannot be disclosed until unless it is the right to information is set. Authorities are satisfied that public interest is very important than the fiduciary relationship. Next is information received in confidence from foreign government. Now, what is information received in confidence from foreign government? They are all, say, arms and ammunitions, or the supply of helicopters, or supply of weapons, or supply of many other shipments, which we purchase from foreign government for the betterment of our military, for the betterment of our police force, for the betterment of the government, whatever technology or paperwork which we employ from foreign done, and the amount which is paid to them sometimes is questionable, but since the state government profits from it, it is not allowed to be disclosed and is treated as confidential from foreign government. Information, the disclosure of which will endanger the life or physical safety of any person or identity, the source of information or assistance, given in confidence for law enforcement or security purposes. Information which discloses or endangers the life of or physical safety of any person or identity uh, means any person who is under the threat from a particular community or from the government or from any other state. Say, for example, a person, the recent case of Kasab, which you all have heard on somewhere in 2013 after the Mumbai 2011 attacks. The information, many citizens have asked what happened to him, why is he, from where is he, and all under RTI. But the government has not disclosed the information because it can risk safety of the person. Anybody can come and also give start giving death threats. So as such information is not disclosed, which will perfectly fit under will endanger the life or physical safety of any person or identity, the source of information. Even informants are protected. Now, say for example, there is any identity as an informant is being protected under right to information. Right to information will not allow my identity to be disclosed. And next, information which would impede the process of investigation or apprehension or prosecution of offenders. What does this mean? It means that whenever police is conducting the investigation or particular authorities investigation, it need not be only the police. It can be even private departmental inquiries of governments which are involved in conducting investigation of their own employee. They will not divulge this information since it is falling under right to privacy of that employee and employer and the department. It can be only disclosed to particular courts or tribunals. Cabinet papers including records of deliberation of the Council of Ministers, Secretary and other officers. This point has been earlier explained to you on the first point, which is the same. Cabinet papers including records of deliberations mean whatever discussions which has been held in the parliament and the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha, which after deliberations the law is made. Now, what are these deliberations? And these deliberations are all recorded. These deliberations are spoken in private. They are voted in private, so that they don't incite people. So that people, because everyone has their own opinions. So that as such, a particular community always presents its own leader, like the voting system also, which you know, every district has its own leader. So now if that leader goes and puts up that idea over there, and whatever deliberation has, that cannot be disclosed to the public. Next, now what is the time period for furnishing information? Whenever you apply for information, from on the date of applying, 30 days from the date of applying, within 30 days, the information should be given to the person or the rightful citizen who's seeking the information. Who are the authorities under right to information? Under right to information, there are three authorities. The first and foremost authority, which is easily accessible to the public and a general citizen, is a public information officer, which I have earlier said. Whenever you want any information, you have to know the department which you want to ask the information first. Very important, since many people ask for information in the wrong department. But thankfully, the government is being user friendly and has made a provision wherein whenever even information is given to the wrong department, information is sought from the wrong department, that department has to transfer the application, that means your application, to the correct department within a period of 5 days. So that is called a public information officer. Second is a state public information officer. Now, when the state public information officer come in question, whenever a public information officer refuses to give information or does not give satisfactory information, that is when we take the same letter and appeal, asking for help from the state public information officer. Now, what happens when state public information officer also does not give you satisfactory reply, or says that the information which is sought is already given, but you are not satisfied that this is not the correct information? Then you go to the higher authority, central public information officers. They are involved in explaining to you and giving you the correct information, which if the state, but even if the central public information officer does not is not able to provide, then you have remedy of approaching the higher court, that is the high court of Goa, or wherever you're based in. If you're based in Bombay, then it is Bombay. If it's Goa, then it's in high court of Goa. As I have earlier said, when an appeal preferred, if authorities do not reply within 30 days, then information is provided free of cost. Now, why it is provided free? It will be deducted from their salaries. That is how the government penalizes the authorities. Now, if information provided authority is not satisfactory, citizen has a right to appeal to state information officer within 30 days. If order passed by first appeal is not satisfactory, a citizen has a right to second appeal within 90 days to the state information officer. So there is a time limit also. You cannot go and keep on waiting that you will apply tomorrow. You have to apply it within a time bracket, so that even the authorities are not pressurized later last minute. If order passed in the second appeal is still not satisfactory, then the citizen has to right to appeal central information. And then I shall proceed with the Consumer Protection Act. Next, Consumer Protection Act 2019 is, which we all know, the name itself says protection for the consumer, has been enacted for purpose of providing timely and effective administration of consumer disputes. Now, what is a consumer dispute? Whenever any item is brought from the showroom, say a washing machine, a fridge, any electronic devices, or any non-electronic devices also, which are not properly furnished, not properly manufacturing defect, or there is some clauses in the while selling that, which is unfavorable to the consumer. That is where the Consumer Protection Act comes in picture. So this act has been enacted for the purpose of providing timely, effective administration and settlement of consumer disputes and related matters. It is a legal force available to customer to enforce their right as a consumer. It was there are two laws actually. Consumer Protection Act was actually enacted in 1986, but later, due to the bulk of the law, it has been reenacted. Yes, yes. It has been reenacted in 2019. Yeah, may I proceed? It has been enacted in 2019. The Consumer Protection Act was passed by the Indian Parliament in 2019 and received the assent of the President on the 9th August 2019. New Act replaced the old Consumer Protection Act 1986. Now, most important to know is who is not a consumer. We all know that who is a consumer, but very important to know who is not a consumer. So, like whenever a person buys goods for resale, is not a consumer. What do we mean by resale? Resale means someone buying, for a simple example, books from a particular store and then reselling it. That is not a consumer. Then person buying goods for any commercial purpose. You're buying something from another person and then selling it to a third person. That will not put you under the definition of a consumer. Now, someone who receives gifts or goods or services, free or gifts. What does it mean by person receiving goods or services free? It means someone who is, say, you go to a hotel and you receive, hello, um, y'all can't view the PPT. Oh, 1 second, 1 second. One second, okay. Can you all see now?
Yeah, we can see.
Yes. Does not make you a consumer. It just makes you a guest or a gift from some company or some person. Of say you receive a free mobile phone from someone as a gift. That does not make you a consumer. That makes you a friend or a guest, something like that. But does not fall under the definition of a consumer. Like I've said earlier, that what is your definition and my definition does not make the law. It is the parliament that defines what is a consumer, what is information, and what are the other aspects of that law. A person enjoying personal service under a contract, that is service by employees, maids, servants, etc. Persons enjoying personal service means under someone who is employed in a company is not a consumer. Someone who is working like as a accountant, maid or a servant does not come under the definition of a consumer or does not come under that law. Next, definition under Consumer Protection Act. Now there are wide and varied definition under Consumer Protection Act. I have only minimized it to a particular this. I want to explain to you what is a commercial purpose. Commercial purpose does not include use by a person of goods brought and used by him exclusively for the purpose of earning his livelihood by means of self-employment. The same thing which I have explained to you earlier. Whenever you buy something to resell, or whenever like books or water or non-alcohol beverage, which you're going to sell it to a third person, is falls under the expression of commercial purpose and does not include use by a person of goods brought and used by him exclusively. The expression buys any goods and hires or avails any services includes offline or online transactions through electronic means or tele-shopping or direct selling or multi-level marketing. Now, why this was introduced in 2019? It is very important to know. In modern day, in I'm sorry, 1986, the Consumer Protection Act did not recognize Flipkart, Amazon, or all this Mintra, wherever clothes and all were brought, or electronics and all were brought. But now the 2019 Act, it recognizes that people are buying from online mostly, and it is very rare to see someone go to the shop now to buy any particular electronic. First, they do their research online and they purchase either offline or online. But if a consumer finds a good deal online, then so be it, they will purchase it online. That is why the expression buys any goods and hires or avails any services includes offline or online transactions through electronic means. This act tries to bring everything under one act by direct selling or uh, someone is unmuted. You can hear me, right? Through electronic means or by tele-shopping or direct selling or multi-level marketing. So the act is trying to bring even all this offline and online transactions in under one purview, so that consumer and private, public, and cooperative sector are covered under this act. All banking services are covered due to their being essential services. Now, what we mean by all goods and services, including banking, insurance, transport. Now, whenever you go to a bank, you deposit your money. So the bank is giving you a service of keeping your money safe transaction facility, giving you that facility of using Google Pay and other net banking services to do your payments and day-to-day works. Insurance, when a company which says that if a certain condition is then you will get insurance. Say if you meet with an accident, then you will get insurance. That is a service. Transport, whenever you buy a train ticket, then or a bus ticket, then that bus is giving you a service that they will drop you from point A to point B. After that, the coverage is over. Electricity is also a service where the government gives you signs a contract with you that they are going to provide you service of electricity for a particular fee. Professionals such as physicians. Now, what I mean, professionals such as physicians, etc. Not all professionals are covered. Certainly, teachers and certain professions wherein you are engaging hospital services or doctor services of a particular offer of 80/20, then such professions come in the under the purview of consumer protection because they are promising you, as well as at the same time they are taking your consent under. So that service falls under Consumer Protection Act. In private, public, and cooperative sectors also are covered. Now, mostly under the old act, very less companies were covered, and it was always the uh, public sectors which are covered. Now it is only private, public, and cooperative sectors are also covered. Now, what are cooperative sectors? Cooperative sectors are societies which are dealing with housing or giving loans or giving other services of ration to people. That is falls under this act. All banking services are covered to their being essential services. Next, which we are going to deal with is what are the rights of consumers. The Act provides rights to the consumers to have information about the quantity and quality, purity, potency, price. This can be interpreted in many ways. If you all want to bargain on a particular item, you may get the same item in 10 different shops. But which is the best shop which provides the best, which provides the same item at a good quality? Say, for example, you require a particular slice of bread. Uh, Say there are four different companies A, B, C, and D. A, B, and D provide white items or something which is expired or which has gone beyond the expiry date and still the shop is selling it. Then you have a right as a consumer to complain, to be protected from hazardous goods and services. Now, what are hazardous goods and services? Hazardous goods. Now, not everything falls under hazardous goods until unless you are deliberately doing it. If, say, example, if I have a mobile phone and within the warranty period, when you put it on charge, it explodes. That becomes a hazardous goods and services. Now, that same thing cannot apply to a cylinder because cylinder, if you don't put it off, it is bound to explode. It is amounts to negligence, but not does not fall under right of the consumer. To be protected from unfair or restrictive trade practices, there are certain companies whenever they launch a product or launch any particular item, they once the warranty gets over, they say this service is not available. You will have to pay for the services. They give you some unbargainable clauses, and they say that it was already explained to you at the time of purchase by showing you their policy. So that is called an unfair or restrictive trade practices. That is where the consumer does not get to bargain. They are told to um, keep quiet and proceed. But that is not how the Consumer Act says. The Consumer Act says that whenever some policy or certain point is unfair to you or you feel is unfair, then it falls under that. And lastly, to have the right to consumer awareness. Consumer awareness means you have to know whom to approach, or whenever the shop is selling you, it is their responsibility to disclose to you that they have a right to complain or right to even get their product exchanged or refunded. That is consumer awareness. Who can file a complaint? A consumer individually or jointly, any voluntary consumer organization, central or state governments. Even if it is paid, there is tax paid or non-tax paid. It is always recommended that you take a bill, and that it is also recommended that whenever you take a bill, always check the name on the bill and the if the shop has the same name. Nowadays, there is a lot of companies which run the name in a particular uh, run a shop in a particular place, but the name on the bill is a different place. So you have to be very alert since such complaints are very much rising. Since whenever you go to serve complaint, the opposite party is not detected. That is one loophole which the Consumer Protection Act faces. So here no court fee is charged, and uh, as it is said, there is a no not a commission, state commission, and national commission. Now district commission, as there is a particular value which is given. A district commission is established by the state government. Now even our state of Goa has its own district commission, which is situated in Porvorim presently, and it takes the value up to 1 crore. So any product which falls within any product or service which comes under 1 crore, here you can complain to district commission. Now state commission, the value exceeds rupees 1 crore, but does 1 to 10 crores. It is very important to know. You have to know this because so you don't file the complaint in the wrong before the wrong authorities. Since this act does not direct the other authorities to take action, you have to go to the correct authority to take action. So state commission it is 1 crore to 10 crore. A district commission is 1 rupee to 1 crore. A national commission exceeds the national commission consists of a president not less than 4 months complaints where the value of goods or service paid exceeds rupees 1 crore does not exceed rupees 10 crore. National commission is basically an appellate court, which the state commission, whenever any product is decided by the state commission, as the consumer does not have any grievance, then you can go to the higher authority, that is a national commission. Presently, there is no national commission in Goa. It is based, our national commission is based in Delhi. So we have to also see the cost which is involved. Whenever you can even ask for your cost and mental agony and all the as compensations, since, since the product which you purchased has caused you so much of trouble, which you can ask in the national commission under the act. Now, what are the powers of district commission? District commission is the main court which gives you the remedy. First is to remove the defect pointed out from the goods. Say you purchased a phone and the screen is broken on the within 1 month. You go to the company, they say that they cannot repair your screen and that it is a consumer fault. Consumer fault meaning it is your fault basically, and you have to pay an amount of 5,000 and odd rupees to change the screen. Now this is a grievance because your phone is under the warranty. Plus you have to pay more 5,000 to change your screen. That becomes a grievance. You can file a complaint directly to district commission. The district commission will, after accessing, conducting inquiry and doing a forensic, directs the company to remove the defect pointed out in the good or to change the screen basically.
acknowledge the contributions of those who made this event possible. On behalf of Department of Psychology of DCT's Dempe College of Arts and Science, I extend my sincere gratitude to Almighty for making this webinar a grand success. I would like to extend a hearty vote of thanks to our resource person, Advocate Pedro Rocha, for conducting such an informative session. This session provided an invaluable information in understanding our rights, and the laws in place will be incredibly empowering for many of us. Once
Yes.
again, I would like to extend a big thanks to the resource person. Your efforts for making this event informative for all of us is truly commendable. I express my heartfelt gratitude to our respected principal, Professor Vrinda Borkar, and management of our institution for their unflinching support in all our undertakings. A very special mention to our head of Department of Psychology, Dr. Mukta Karmari, for always encouraging us to take up initiatives. Her patience and unwavering support keeps us going. Thank you, ma'am. The webinar would not have been possible without the technical assistance from our system administrator, Mr. Gaurav Bani. Thank you, Mr. Bani, for your enormous support throughout. Last but certainly not the least, I sincerely thank you all for making this event a success. Your timely joining helped us conduct the session flawlessly, and your active participation kept us motivated throughout. Thank you all. Once again, we thank you for being with us today. It has remained a pronounced pleasure. Thank you very much and wishing you all a good day ahead and a lovely weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I would also like to thank Madam Cindy and the esteemed staff of the MP College for giving us this opportunity to present and have a discourse and dialogue. I hope in the future we can have more meaningful dialogues and exploration of ideas. Thank you.
Definitely, we will. And since I couldn't introduce Advocate Pedro Rocha, it's an honor for me to introduce him as our alumni of Denver College. So we are proud to have you with us today. Thank you, Pedro, for your enormous contribution towards this webinar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Participants, please fill up the feedback link through which you will receive your certificate. It's already posted in the chat box.